In this video, we're going to have a discussion about the new Lookout Sir rule in Age of Sigmar 2.0.
Okay.
Welcome, Wargamers. My name is Doug with 2Plus Stuff, and today we're talking about that new rule we saw in Warhammer Community Page, talking about the way that the game designers want to protect heroes a little bit more as they go into combat throughout the game. That is with a rule called Lookout Sir. It's going to be kind of a shorter video. It's not a massive thing, but there's kind of a bit of a discussion about what that means for the game going forward. So let's hop over there. So here we are on the Warhammer Community Page. Scrolling down to Lookout Sir article. Okay, and so basically they're incorporating this. It looks like a general rule for all heroes that are not on monsters. That's important to know. Lookout Sir, you must subtract 1 from hit rolls made for missile weapons if the target of the attack is an enemy hero that is within 3 inches of an enemy unit that has 3 or more models. The Lookout Sir rule does not apply if the target is a hero. Sorry, if the target hero is a monster. So that's important. So what it's saying is, if your hero is near a unit, within 3 inches that has 3 or more models, so it's near a larger unit than them, they are now -1 to hit for shooting weapons. It provides a little bit of protection. And it kind of gives you some scenarios of, create tactical dilemmas by, do you shoot the unit that's defending them? Do you shoot the hero? And those kinds of things. And it points out some of the sort of smaller heroes they were thinking about with this thing. Particularly excited for armies led by mortal heroes like Free Guild Generals, Fungoid Cave Shamans, and Skaven Warlords. We'll be taking a look at what these changes mean for Maggotkin of Nurgle. There's a lot of there. The Maggotkin article is not super groundbreaking, so we'll pass on that one. But talking about this, I can tell you that I have Moonclan Grots, and the problem I was facing is there's no way to really protect my Fungoid Cave Shaman because he stands up on a rock and has that big mushroom plume hat. He was just going to get sniped. And so this provides a monicum of defense for him, -1 to hit. So here's the thing. If you're new to the game, you weren't playing in previous editions or didn't play 40k, Lookout Sir used to be, if your hero was going to take a wound, you'd make a roll, and a nearby unit, or one they were attached to back when units would attach to one another, somebody else would basically jump in front of the bullet for you and take the bullet. And so somebody else would die rather than you. It wasn't about hitting, it was about taking the damage. And so when we look at this, when you see Lookout Sir, first of all, there's a lot of confusion for veteran players. I know I was very confused when I saw, when I scrolled through the article and saw these words, I was like, yes! Like, super pumped. I wanted the old school Lookout Sir. I wanted to be able to have my, my big hitters sit next to larger units and you have to plink away at them. Of course, with the old rule, it was like on a 4-up or a 3-up. You could change the numbers to make it match whatever you wanted the efficiency to be, but you would still statistically have a chance of actually getting hit. So you could have, say, your Fungoid Cave Shaman sit by a unit of 40 Moonclan Grots, and no, they're not invincible because on every, third die or roll or something like that, your Cave Shaman gets hit. So they're not invincible. It's just a chance to pass off damage as your kind of underlings jump in front of you. What this does is it doesn't quite provide the level of support I was looking for. If you followed my AOS 2.0 video, when I did a sit and paint, basically, I was talking about how I wanted heroes to be protected so they can go into combat and actually start engaging one another. This does provide a little bit of protection, that's true, and I'm glad they didn't swing the pendulum so hard that, like, heroes just cannot be targeted. But I wanted something a little bit different. A few things kind of come to mind when I think about this rule. The first one being, and the one you'll see online very prevalently right now as people are discussing it, is magic sniping. This specifically says, I'll go back here, missile weapons. So if you shoot a spell at somebody, Arcane Bolt, Tzeentch has a bajillion mortal wound spells. They can still target heroes the same. It has no effect on them. One thing I will say to those folks who are kind of bringing that up is the fact that we don't know changes to the magic phase yet. This specifically is for shooting. There's no reason to tell that there wouldn't be something about magic. We know there's going to be a new kind of magic phase, new kinds of spells. So I see what they're saying, and as of what we know right now, that's perfectly valid. We don't know the full picture, so it is what it is. As far as you know why I think they made this call. To be perfectly honest with you, I think they wanted a way to give heroes protection without getting into the debacle they have right now with Warhammer 40k. If you're not familiar, Warhammer 40k, you cannot target a hero unless it's our HQ, whatever you want to call them, unless it's the closest model. Okay. The problem you run into is if I'm standing here, you're the hero I want to shoot, and you're 8 inches away, and 2 inches away on the other side of this concrete building that goes like to the tip of the sky, there's a dude from your army. I can't shoot you because you're not the closest model. You're the only model I can see, but you're not the closest. And so it's a clunky, I don't like it. I'll be honest with you. It's one of the big things about 40k I'm struggling with as I'm building up my Genestealer cult. It's like, if you are literally the only thing I can see, how come I can't shoot you? And so I understand from a game mechanic perspective, they want it that way for balancing. From a thematic perspective, it just breaks it for me right there. And so I get a little bummed when I see that. So the point is, I'm bringing this back to AOS. I don't think they wanted a clunky rules situation, because that whole scenario in 40k, it took like 3 FAQs to get that right. Okay, when the game first came out, they did an updated one, and their big FAQ doubled down on it. So they have a huge thing there. I think they wanted something that's very mild, and it can always be turned up, but not something that they had to just immediately put out a bajillion FAQs about and was going to shift tournament play dramatically. Those kinds of things, or you can have wonky rules interactions where, like, back to the 40k thing, initially you could shoot at the hero if they were the only thing you could see. So people would do weird stuff like park a truck on each side of you to block line of sight to everything else, so you can only see the hero. And so that's how they would game that system. No more. They stripped that in 40k, but I think they wanted something that was subtle enough to not have to do those kinds of things in AOS. So in that hand, I get it. I see what they tried to do. The thing is I feel like magic is stronger in AOS than psychic abilities are in 40k. And when I think about armies like, Maggot Kin of Nurgle has a bunch of mortal wound output. Specifically Demons of Tzeentch, all their spells have a lot of great stuff to put out mortal wounds. Skyfires in particular. I know those are shooting attacks, but there are a lot of magical ways to do things like that. And so, I don't know, I'm kind of torn. I wanted something a little bit more, but I respect the reason why they did it, because what I don't want is I don't want the thing that happened with 40k. And so, I'm a little on the fence. I want to hear your guys' thoughts. So, looking back over here, this scenario they have right here, actually, it's funny they have this picture. There's absolutely no heroes in this. Very interesting. But so I can see it being very useful for stuff like this Skaven Warlord here. My Fungoid Cave Shaman's going to love it. Any, what are they called? Chaos Overlord players gonna hate it because they don't need a -1. They feel like they already have a built-in -1 to their faction. I just the times I played against them, they never seem to hit. And then actually, I do want to touch on the Maggot Kin of Nurgle one. They basically do the same thing where they say, who are they? Why would you play them? Kind of going over the coolest parts of them. They have a great interview with a guy named Adam talking about why he got into the faction. And really what it does is it just pinpoints the idea of, hey, here's how you can stack some command abilities. What they're doing is looking at the previous articles they put out and said, here's how those things look in up-to-date factions. Makes me bummed that Slaves to Darkness was the first one, because then there weren't anything previewed for them to show off. But going forwards, they do bring up the fact that let me read this to you. The Emerald Life Swarm is one of the new Endless spells, but rather than kill your enemies, this power heals your forces, a great boon to an already resilient army. So it looks like other factions are going to be getting these perpetual, in this time they use the word endless, Another article they use the word persistent spells, things that are ongoing, and I'm very excited when they start revealing more about the magic phase, which is why I say hold off on judgment for this rule about the Lookout Sir, because we don't know what the magic phase is going to look like, and so that could be radically different. Probably not to the point where it has to change the fundamental cores of how all spells work, but when I say like in terms of targeting, what the interactivity is going to be like, we don't know if there's going to be ways to manipulate the Lookout Sir. There certainly were some factions, like I would not be surprised if hypothetically when the Skaven book came out, they had a way of making a warlord chuck clan rats in front of him so that they would get killed instead of him. No doubt about that. That's definitely within the realm of possibility. What this does is it opens up a new mechanic, first of all, to making sure that all smaller current level heroes existing in the game get some ounce of defense against shooting without being sniped. But the Lookout Sir, having that name, introduces a new mechanic so that a Skaven thing can say Lookout Sir happens at a -2 modifier. You know, those kinds of things. Every time you introduce a mechanic, you gain one more kind of lever to pull when you're making army design. And I think that's what kind of the biggest takeaway from this. And so I want to hear your guys' thoughts. Tell me what you think about the Lookout Sir mechanic on its own. Tell me what you would have liked to have seen. Do you think, this is actually a real question, do you think the old Lookout Sir, on a certain number, when another unit nearby takes the hit instead of you, would you rather have that? I'm trying to think of scenarios where that'd be worse. What I'm really trying to balance this around is the Bloodsecrator, because you want the Bloodsecrator to be able to be killed at some point, but you don't want all your heroes to die too early. So that's kind of my opinion. That's how I choose to balance things out, and I'd love to hear your opinion. So I'm going to keep up the coverage on the Malign Portents kind of updates. I've gotten a lot of great feedback about them. A lot of folks say they don't have time to keep up with the articles. They enjoy being able to like hobby and listen versus stop and read the wall of text. So if you're enjoying them, please let me know. It always helps to have someone say like, hey, thank you. So go ahead. I'm losing my voice here. This is my third video I recorded. Thank you all so much for watching. If there is a Age of Sigmar lore question or a article that really stands out to you that you'd like me to cover, go ahead, click subscribe, and leave it in the comments down below. I respond to every single comment, and I look forward to seeing you guys in my next Age of Sigmar lore video. Thanks so much for watching, and happy wargaming.